Good morning, students. Once again, I am back with your civics textbook. So, today we will discuss about the key features of the Indian Constitution. So, without wasting much time, let us begin our discussion with the topic. By the beginning of the 20th century, the Indian national movement had been active in the struggle for independence from British rule for several decades. During the freedom struggle, the nationalists had devoted a great deal of time to imagining and planning what a free India would be like. Under the British, they had been forced to obey rules that they had had very little role in making. The long experience of authoritarian rule under the colonial state convinced Indians that free India should be a democracy in which everyone should be treated equally and be allowed to participate in government. So, as we know, the nationalists were fighting for the freedom of the nation against the British rule because Britishers did not allow Indians to participate in the decision making or in making of the laws and the rules. So Indian nationalists were planning to have a country in which everyone should be treated equally and they also should be allowed to participate in the making of the government. What remained to be done then was to work out the ways in which a democratic government would be set up in India and the rules that would determine its functioning. This was done not by one person but by a group of around 300 people who became members of the Constituent Assembly in 1946 and who met periodically for the next 3 years to write India's constitution. So, to write India's constitution, it has taken almost 3 years. So, it was not written by only one person, but it was written by a group of around 300 people. So these members of the Constituent Assembly had a huge task before them. The country was made up of several different communities who spoke different languages, belonged to different religions, and had distinct cultures. Also, when the constitution was being written, India was going through considerable turmoil. The partition of the country into India and Pakistan was imminent. Some of the princely states remained undecided about their future, and the socio economic condition of the vast mass of people appeared dismal. So, when the Indian constitution was being written, it was a really very difficult task for the members of the Constituent Assembly because in India we find that people spoke very different languages, they belonged to different religions as well, they had different cultures, so many diversities were there in India at that point of time. And also during that time, India was going through a very great turmoil because there was a separation between India and Pakistan. So it was really a challenging, and some of the states as well were remained undecided, and their future seemed to be dismal. All of these issues played on the minds of the members of the Constituent Assembly as they drafted the Constitution. So, when they were writing the Indian Constitution at that point of time, everything, all these issues played a very vital role in the minds of the members of the Constituent Assembly. They rose to the occasion and gave this country a visionary document that reflects a respect for maintaining diversity while preserving national unity. The final document also reflects their concern for eradicating poverty through socio-economic reforms as well as emphasizing the crucial role the people can play in choosing their representatives. So listed below are the key features of the Indian Constitution. Okay, so now let us look at the key features of the Indian Constitution. The first key feature we have is the federalism. So this refers to the existence of more than one level of government. Please remember this. Okay, so federalism refers to the existence of more than one level of government in the country. In India, we have governments at the state level, at the center, and Panchayati Raj is the third tier of government. Okay, so federalism means more than existence of more than one level of government. That means we have in India three level of government. Okay, we have the government at the Panchayati Raj, and we have in the state as well. Is at the state level we have, then finally we have at the center. The second feature of the Indian Constitution is parliamentary form of government. Okay, so what is this parliamentary form of government? The different tiers of government that you just read about consist of representatives who are elected by the people. So in the parliamentary form of government, we see that it consists of representatives. Okay, and the representatives are elected by the people. So in parliamentary form of government, there are some representatives, and those representatives are elected by the people. And the third key feature of the Indian Constitution is separation of powers. According to the Constitution, there are three organs of government. These are the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. Okay, please remember, according to the separation of powers, the Constitution says that there are three organs of government. Okay, so the first is the legislature, second the executive, and the third is judiciary. So let us try to understand what is this legislature. So the legislature refers to our elected representatives. Okay, so who are the legislature? So legislature refers to our elected representatives. Okay, so legislature are the elected people, elected representatives, elected people. Second, the executive is a small group of people who are responsible for implementing laws and running the government. So executive is a small group of people. Okay, you have to understand, executive is a small group of people. They are responsible for implementing laws and running of the government. And the final, the judiciary refers to the system of courts in this country. Okay, so judiciary, as we know, we have some court like Supreme Court, we have like we have High Court. So we have courts. So judiciary deals with the system of courts. So separation of power also is very important, because if separation of power is not done, if it is imposed only in one person, then the other person can misuse the power. And the fourth key feature of the Indian Constitution is fundamental rights. This The section on fundamental rights has often been referred to as the conscience of the Indian Constitution. Okay, it is the conscience. Okay, conscience. The fundamental rights are the conscience of the Indian Constitution. So, the fundamental rights protect citizens against the arbitrary and absolute exercise of power by the state. Okay, so this protects, and it also guarantees the rights of individuals against the state as well as against other individuals. Okay, so this is the benefit we get from the constitution. Okay, so the fundamental rights are the conscience of the Indian Constitution. And the final key feature of Indian Constitution is secularism. So, secularism. A secular state is one in which the state does not officially promote any one religion as the state religion. So, India is a secular country, okay? Because in secularism, we find that a secular state does not promote any one religion as the state religion. Okay, that means we can practice any religion being in a democratic country. So the constitution as well guarantees us and assures us to practice our own religion, our own cultures, our own dharma or religion. So students, here only we conclude our chapter. So before concluding our chapter, let us see all the 5 key features of the Indian Constitution fast. So the first feature of Indian Constitution is the federalism. Okay, we have studied about the federalism, in which we see that in the nation there is a existence of more than one level of government. Okay, and second we studied was about the parliamentary form of government. Okay, there we saw that consists of the representatives, and the representatives are elected by the people. And the third thing we saw was separation of powers. There we saw the separation of powers was the first we saw was the legislature, then we also saw the executive, and third we saw was the judiciary, and the fourth thing we saw was the fundamental rights, in which we see that fundamental rights are the conscience of the Indian Constitution. And finally we see the secularism. Okay, in secularism no state can promote any one religion in any of the state. Okay, so the people are given freedom to practice any of their religion. So here only we conclude our chapter. I hope you all of you have understood, and if you have not understood any topic, and if you have any doubts, any clarification, please approach me in the WhatsApp number. For time being, thank you and have a nice day. I will update you tomorrow with the question and answers.